Hello and welcome to Andy's Shed Late, and it really is late this week. This is for Thursday the 16th of September 2021. Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Yes, it's Andy's Shed Late, and as I say, it really is late this week. Welcome. 24 hours late actually. We had a few internet issues and things here yesterday which stopped us getting online, but we're here now, and we're all in business, so yeah, great to be here. I will just try and get us up on YouTube if I can, so I can see what you're all saying in the chat and stuff. Right, bear with me one moment. It's serving me an ad. How marvellous. Right, move that, put that up here. I'm just getting myself organised. I see we have got one or two people here in the chat. Christopher's here, Wesley's here, Dominic's here. Dominic says, did people hear about Sir Clive passing away? Sir Clive? Do you mean Sir Clive Sinclair? I wasn't aware that had happened, so no, I hadn't heard about that. Or do you mean Alexander Armstrong? Because since Micromen, of course, Sir Clive Sinclair is like totally one and the same as Alexander Armstrong. But no, I had no idea about that. So yeah, oh dear, yeah. Poor old Sir Clive. Oh, that's not good at all, is it? I never had a Sinclair computer. I always quite fancied the Sinclair C5 electric car though. Well, I never had a Sinclair computer, but I did always fancy an electric car of Sir Clive's. So yeah, I was pleased to see that when Blackpool Illuminations started a couple of weeks ago, and they had their Ride the Lights thing before the official turn on, which is an evening where they close off all the promenade and only allow basically cyclists to use the road, so you can ride through on bikes. I was pleased to say that see that on Ride the Lights there were at least 2 Sinclair C5s that went through. So there are still a few about, but yeah, I would like one. It's the kind of 1970s and 80s stuff that I collect, a Sinclair C5. So if anybody out there's got one they don't want, send it this way. Chris says, did you get my telephone line called? That's not come out terribly right at this end, Christopher. I cannot make sense of it. Oh crikey, we've got a house full tonight. We've got nearly as many people here tonight as we have on a Sunday. You're all very good at staying up. Better than I am. I fall asleep. I had a nap. I had to get up again to do this. So there we go. Right. Right, shall we do the housekeeping and that? We might as well, and for those of you who are new to it, welcome to the show. We are live here normally on a Wednesday evening, and always basically on a Sunday evening as well. Sunday evening at 6 o'clock, a Wednesday around about 11:30. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do it via our website, which you will find here, andyshed.colepress.net. Click around on there and you'll find a contact us form. That is the way to get in touch with us if you don't know the email addresses and things. Because you can fill the contact form in and then it'll ping me an email. I don't give the email addresses out on here because if I do, I just get tons of spam. So andyshed.colepress.net is the place to go to catch up with us. Also, if you like what we do here and you'd like to support the channel for just the equivalent of £1 a month, then why not join us on Patreon and get some extra special content that's just for Patreon members as well. You can do that at patreon.com/AndysShed. That's patreon.com/AndysShed. And remember, we've also now got our new forum as well, where you can post stuff and chat even when we're not on air. That's here at gpotelephones.proboards.com. That's gpotelephones.proboards.com. Got it? Got it? Good. Marvellous. I'm so pleased you have. Right. Shall we crack on? Eh? Right. We'll crack on then, shall we? Yeah. Why not? Right, bear with me 1 second. I'm just pressing copious numbers of wrong buttons here at the minute, just to say. Where have I gone? There I am. That's it, I'm back. I'm back in business. Right. Tonight, not all totally live because I've had a delivery this week. A box arrived, and well, yesterday morning I unwrapped this magical box. If you want to see what happened by the magic of video, we'll go back now, shall we, and show you what happened here yesterday morning. Now, I've had something sent in to me this week. Here it is. If I can get it. Crikey. Show you an unboxing. So, stick it on the desk. Like so. We'll remove some bubble wrap, shall we? There we go. One end, I might have to do the other end as well. talk amongst yourselves a minute while I do this. More tape. More tape. Right, I think that's it. So, we should now be able to start to unwrap it. Now, I bought this because it was very cheap and I thought it was something unusual as well. Get all the stuff out of the way, there we go. That's what it is. It is, if I move that a bit, a computer dialer. Now, what is a computer dialer, I hear you ask? Well, good question is my reply. I've not got the foggiest idea. But I believe it is something that allows you to program phone numbers into it and then dial them by just pressing one key. It says, store 20 numbers in its own memory banks, automatic dial tone detection, 14-digit LED readout, convenient automatic redial, digital clock with 5 alarm settings and 12-digit calculator. Whoa! Right, shall we have a look at it? Right. I'm not quite sure how it comes out of the box. Open it there. Oh, it's quite hefty. At the same time, it's quite hefty, and various bits have dropped out. These little cards have dropped out. So we'll take those out for now. Oh, alarm's going off on my phone. Oh. Sorry about that. We'll get on with it now, shall we? Alright, so here we go. So it comes with an AC power supply, 240 volts in, 9 volts, 600 milliamps out. Olympus Electronics, not Olympus, Olympus Electronics. So here's the power brick. And it's got a wire. And it's got this wire. Which I kind of assume goes to the telephone line, and has got 4 little fork connectors on it. Now there's red, white, blue and black, so not standard colours really. And here we are. And on the back, supplied by conversation pieces. Now, conversation pieces are quite well known in the telephone collecting world in this country, making reproduction old telephones, things like candlesticks and that, and wooden wall phones, and they made them often with bits of original sort of turn of the century telephones, turn of the last century telephones. So that's kind of where conversation pieces come from. Now, there's a bit of plastic in here, and that should hold these cards in place, like so. Put your bit of plastic back in. One of those bits of plastic needs to be missing. But here it is. It's got a volume control on the front here. But there doesn't seem to be any instructions. So, obviously, I've got to plug this somehow into a telephone line, but I'm not quite sure how. Any info on the box or anything? No, not really. Totally no information at all on the box on how you plug it in or what you do. So it may end up being guesswork. But for now, shall we see if it powers on? Because these old things don't always. So I will get my cord. You can tell this has been in the box years because the polystyrene's gone funny and kind of stuck to the cords. Where do I plug the power switch in? Oh, tel and dialer on the back of there. There's a switch on the back that goes between tel and dialer. So there for dialer, there for tel. No idea what the difference is. We'll leave it on tel for now. We'll plug in the power, which is 9 volts in theory. Then got to find somewhere to actually plug the whole thing in. Right, I will plug it in. Up there for a minute. Bear with me a sec. Oh, looking good. We've got lights. Don't know if you can see on there, but it says A12 0 0. Now that should be 0 0, but looks like there's one segment out on the LED display, which is a shame. But no, you didn't see that, did you? I thought A12 0 0 0 0, but just one segment out on that second to last note, that one there. It says time set, so we'll try and set a time, so we'll it doesn't seem to be coming out with sensible numbers though. That's weird. Right, maybe it's not got. Right, that swaps me between PM and AM. are segments out on the display. I mean, all those should have been number 8s across there, and you can probably see they're not all number 8s because some segments out on the display, which is going to make it a little tricky. But the idea of what it is is, oh, that's the calculator, right. So you've got a thing to set the mode here, so you can set the time there. That's calculator, so you can go theoretically 1 plus 1 equals 2. And it won't do dialing now for some reason. The dial light was on before. I'm assuming that should be dial. That LED was lit a minute ago. My phone again! Useless thing. So it looks like it's only kind of half working, but then again I did only pay, I think it was 99p for it. So so the thing isn't fully working, but it's an interesting piece of historic tact, basically. In that you should be able to program these buttons to select different numbers. That's on now. That's on the dial thing now. Oh, it's lit up now, the dial. I'm with it. So dial 6, right, okay. So press that and it'll try and dial the number. Maybe dial isn't lighting on here because it's not sensing a dial tone. But if you have all the lights out, then you press one of these numbers that should be programmable. Dial does then come on. So I think I need to find some instructions on how this works. But I just thought you'd like to see this oddball piece of telephone equipment from whenever it's from. I'm guessing the 1980s. The E003 computer dialer that could dial up to 20 telephone numbers. So up to 20 telephone numbers in its memory. It doesn't seem a lot, that really, does it, somehow? Could you not remember 20 numbers? So yeah, it is what it is. It's a little bit of mad telephone history for you. The E003 dialer. And there you have it, the E003 dialer. that turned up in the post this week. If anybody knows anything about these E003 dialers, then please get in touch with us. andyshed.coldpress.net to find the contact us form as usual. Particularly if you've got the instructions on how to work one, because while this one came in the box and is complete and that, there's no instructions or anything with it. So if you know how to work an E003 dialer, we'd be very interested to hear from you at the moment. Right, moving swiftly on, Dominic's been in the forum this week and he's come up with a very interesting theory about dial bezels. And I just want to show you this because I think this is quite interesting what Dominic's come up with here. He says on the 746Ls, i.e. the 746s with the alphanumeric dial surrounds, he says, my current thinking as to the dates is thus. He says in 1967 to 1968 all 746s came out of the factory with alphanumeric bezels, but clone phones made by people like GEC etc. Offered the option of a plain clip-in bezel, although almost all clones were still 706s. He says, I haven't seen any original examples of 746s from this period with the plain bezel, apart from an early publicity photo. Said by 1969, all fig dialing commences for most former director areas. Production of alphanumeric bezels ceases, but still around a 50-50 chance of 746L coming off any production line with the alphanumeric bezel. In 1970 to 71, alphanumeric dial bezel stocks are gradually used up on the GPO issued phones, in between production of new plain bezels as and when 746 clones start to become more common. So 1970 to 71, he thinks it's a bit of a toss-up whether you get an alphanumeric bezel on your phone or not. Between 72 to 74, no more official 746Ls, although clone 746s still have the option for one. Mid to late 1970s, the clip-on dial bezels abandoned in favour of the moulded twist lock bezels. This changeover complete before the darker dial bezels, albeit plain ones, were reintroduced. The TT colour phones in time for the 1980s. I think I agree with most of that, Dominic, maybe except for the bit. I think the twist-on bezels came earlier. I think the twist-on bezels came, the one-piece plastic twist-on bezels. I think they probably came in the early 1970s, if not the late 1960s, from some manufacturers. And when I say some manufacturers, of course there were a lot of people making 746s, a lot of different companies, so what bits they had might have varied, but in general I think that's a pretty good explanation, that, Dominic. So you can find Dominic's explanation there, and you can comment on it, let him know if you agree or disagree over on the forum at gpotelephones.proboards.com. So get on over there and take a look at that and see what you think about it. Cool. Right, what's everybody saying in the chat at the moment? Chris says, did you get my email of homemade multicoloured line cords? No, I haven't, Christopher. Actually, that one. No, I've definitely not got that one. Not seen that. Unless, of course, it's waiting in my inbox now, because I've not looked at my email for maybe a couple of hours or so tonight. So if he sent it in the last couple of hours, that may be why I've not seen it. Yeah, folks are talking about Dominic's dial bezels. Yeah, I think it's a fairly good bet, that, for the dial bezels. What Dominic's written there in the old forum. I think he could well be spot on there with that. Could well be spot on. But it's one of those things we just don't know. You see, we just don't know for certain. I mean, I've said this before on here. I talked to somebody who's quite well known in telephone preservation circles in the UK, and he was adamant that 746Ls didn't exist. He was adamant that 746s always had a plain bezel on them. You know, and he worked for the GPO. And that at the time, and he says, if they'd have existed, I've seen one. Well, of course they did exist. We know they existed. Various of us have got them, but he just never happened to see one. So it's how your mind plays tricks on you as well. As time goes on, as the years roll by, you know, you swear you never knew stuff that actually you did know, but you've just forgotten. I think it's a thing as we get older. Christopher says, I'm getting another GPO 746L. This time it's a two-tone grey one. Crikey, these rare 746Ls will not be left out there soon. People that watch this will have got them all. Dominic says, I think you might be right. It could have been a difference between manufacturers. It seems a lot of the early plain ones were the clip-in type. Yeah, I think a lot of the early plain ones were the twist lock ones. I've got very few two-part ones that are plain. I think I maybe got two in something like 200 and odd phones. I think there might be two that have got the plain dial bezels that clip in rather than the lettered ones. You know, the two-part ones that clip onto the metal ring at the back. That's what I mean by clip in. I think out of all the phones I've got, I think I've got two of those, the plain version, not the lettered ones. So I think that's rare to find those, even rarer than finding the lettered bezels and that, which are difficult to get hold of, the proper ones. Dominic says, I've never seen a 746F earlier than 1969. Well, it's difficult, you see, Dominic, because a lot of the manufacturers, by the time they got doing 746s, didn't bother putting the L or the F after it. They just put 746 on the bottom. So only a very small minority of manufacturers still put that last character on the end, that F or that L. So you get phones that will say 746 on the bottom, so you just don't know what they were originally, whether they were L's or F's or what they were. And there's a heck of a lot like that. So it's difficult to say, but certainly if you still dialed using basically 3 letters of the exchange rather than numbers until 1969, you would definitely have needed an alphanumeric dial bezel until 1969, unless you were Well, you do needed them everywhere. Yeah, you needed them everywhere until 1969. So yeah, theoretically they should all have had it then until 1969, shouldn't they? That's a very, 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 very interesting thing. Yeah. Did so many of them get replaced, I wonder? I don't know. I don't know. It's a bit of something we could do with finding out more details of what actually happened. And I don't know where you would go to find those details. That's the problem. You know, there's not really an official sort of archive of what happened when. And that. I mean, the trouble is there are people who claim to know stuff, but they do sometimes get it wrong, just like we sometimes get it wrong here. So, you know, it's a tricky one, that. But your theory, Dominic, on the forum about the dial bezels sounds plausible to me. It does sound plausible. Dominic says, we have had a lot of lettered stocks which will probably last a few years after, say, late 68. Yeah. Again, I think it depends on the company making them, and how long stocks of bits lasted. What I do know is late 60s, early 70s was a real boom time for telephones. You have to remember, not everybody had got a house phone at that time, and that was around about the time, sort of the first half of the 1970s, was the time when people that had never had a telephone before were suddenly thinking about getting them, and there was a massive expansion in the number of people that had telephones at around about that time, which is why so many plastic 700 series phones exist now compared to the relatively small number of Bakelite phones, because there were so many more subscribers when the plastic phones came out. Christopher says the 746L that I'm getting is a 1969 model, and it says on the base 746L DFA 691. So that is definitely a 746L then, Christopher. Dominic says, interesting that they lettered it with an L in 1969. Yeah, I think some places just carried on lettering them. You know, the places that put letters on 746s carried on doing it well into the 1970s, I believe. But not everybody did. A lot just put 746. But some kept putting the L or the F. Way into the 70s, you get 746Fs. So, yeah. Again, it depended on the company if they wanted to put that F on, even though there weren't any L's by, let's say, 1975. Some of the manufacturers still kept putting F's on, even though there weren't any L's. You know, there wasn't anything else. They were all F's. They still put it on, 746F, on the base of the phones. It's interesting. It would stand some more research, but I don't know where you would research. That's the problem. Right, I think we've about cracked it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed the look at the CD8050 computer dialer that rocked up in the post this week. Here's the box it came in. Well, it's got the dialer inside it actually. It's relatively heavy as well. Yes, it's quite a thing, is this. If I do that, it might make a thumbnail. But yeah, we're going to try and get this going. If anybody knows anything, it's got those little red LEDs you probably saw earlier, it's got those little red LED segmented numbers on the display, and some of those segments are out. And now these displays were a classic thing of the 70s and into the 80s, but some of those segments are out. If anybody knows anything about those segmented displays and how to repair them, please let me know. Please get in touch. Again, andyshed.coldpress.net is the place to go if you want to get in touch with us, and you'll find the contact us form on there. And for the forum, for the forums, you can see what Dominic's talking about here, about his theory of the dial bezels. Then you go to gpotelephones.proboards.com. And also, I should also tell you that we've got the shop as well, that is gradually getting more and more stuff put into it. And the shop is at andysemporium.coldpress.net. That's andysemporium.coldpress.net if you want to go and have a look in the shop. Right, Dominic says, I ought to head off to bed before I oversleep and miss my train tomorrow. Have a good rest of the week all, and see you on Sunday. Thanks very much, Dominic. I think we're all going to head off. Just checking through that I've not missed anything on there. Yeah, I think we're all going to head off, as it's well, about midnight here in the UK now. So thanks to everybody for watching once again. We will be back on Sunday, Sunday tea time, around about 6 PM UK time, and then again next week, hopefully, internet permitting, next Wednesday evening at 11:30. But the next one, 6 PM on Sunday. And also this week, the other bit of news to give you this week is we've been out and about recording another Escape the Shed as well. That will be coming out soon for those of you who were asking about Escape the Shed the other day. There'll be one soon, hopefully. Right, that is it for tonight. Thanks to everybody who has stayed up with us in the old chat there again. And we'll see you next time here at Andy's Shed. Thanks for watching. Night, everybody.